Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Axion,
I'm Sint.
and we are back in Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. And that means we're back in the world of Scadrial, the world of Mistborn.
Specifically, the second Mistborn from the original trilogy, The Well of Ascension. So, since it's a Sanderson, let's just get right to it. Plot!
Well of Ascension picks up basically right after the end of the first story.
Well,
The Final
sometime
Empire.
after, but yeah.
It's a fairly short gap.
I think it's about a year?
That sounds right. No. I need to find where the key goes.
But yeah, so our rebellion is now in charge of the city. But Elend is in charge, but rather than being the king of the city, he is the king, but he's a democratically elected king. Which, we'll see how this goes. They're also under siege. Because Elend's father wants the city back. Luckily, though, or unluckily, a second army shows up, so they can't just invade the city. Now we have a standoff. Because Breeze has carefully led the army of Ashwither Set, another lord, to help in the standoff. So, this is going great.
Yay!
Oh, there's also a third army on the way, just an army of Kolos led by Justice Lakal, who we met very briefly in the first book as one of Elend's book club friends.
Yep. Kolos were also mentioned like once in passing and not explained in the first book. Kolos are giant humanoids with bluish skin who are exceptionally strong and can grow to massive sizes and were used by the former Emperor, the Lord Ruler, as basically shock troops.
Hulk smash.
Yep, they're kind of hulky, and I think I need to make it spring? Ah, here we go. So, everyone who hears about the Kolos is absolutely terrified because they're extremely destructive and powerful. But Lakal is somehow keeping hold on them. Come on.
But yeah, so in the city, Vin is struggling with her paranoia and adjusting to everything. And it's not as though she's wrong with the paranoia, considering there are multiple attempts on Elend's life on a routine basis.
Yep.
Also, Elend is struggling to maintain control of the assembly he has created. Because, well, when you give people who've never traditionally had a voice before a voice, they're going to use it. And not every background character agrees with what the protagonists have prioritized. In particular, they are struggling with the fact that they never found the ATM reserves that they were supposed to.
Yep, so all the wealth they were expecting to keep their new free community going, they never found it.
Though I actually would argue that, because I think Kelsier did find it. He destroyed Hits of Halfshin.
Well, no, yes, but there was also the whole rumor of there's supposed to be a reserve within the city.
True, but I am saying that Kelsier maybe didn't think everything through, but that's basically textbook
Kelsier
Kelsier.
didn't think things through?
I know.
Okay, where is the
But yeah.
summit?
But Vin also notices that there is another Mistborn watching her while she's out doing these patrols. We later find out his name is Zane, and he works with Straff, who happens to be his father. Ellen didn't know about him, of course, because,
Nobody tells Ellen
that would,
anything.
that would require Straff to actually, talk.
Also, care.
Yep. So Ellen is basically too much of a scholar to know how to be a leader, and is more of an academic, actual force of personality, which means he's not very forceful. People don't have a lot of confidence in him as a leader, and this means that when a companion of Sazed shows up, Tindwyl, to try and teach him how to behave like a leader, there's a learning curve. Also, Sazed comes back having discovered some writing to the effect of, lots of stuff that they could discover about the Ascension of the Lord Ruler. So rather than doing the teaching he's supposed to be doing, he goes back to help out our former rebels.
There's one other thing that Sazed has discovered. The mist is killing people.
Oh yeah, that's a new problem. And this doesn't really help, considering, the Ska have always been very superstitious about the mists. Actually, basically anybody who's not a misting or a mistborn has been. But yeah, the mist is causing some problems now, which, due to this fear, especially because it's becoming out in the daytime now, people are starving to death in their homes because they're afraid to leave. He runs into Marsh, who's acting very strange, with no real explanation. So, there's that. Again, Marsh goes off on his own, but Sazed goes back to Luthadel, and also a terrace woman named Tindwyl arrives, as we said. She and Sazed don't necessarily see eye to eye on things. She sees Sazed as a disappointment because he's clearly very capable, but he doesn't follow the rules, so he basically got exiled.
Kill these things so they don't steal my shield again.
Yeah, Vince spends a lot of time doubting herself, doubting if she and Ellen are meant to be together because they're so different, etc., etc. But also, not sure she can trust anyone, because when Orsur takes on a new body, as Khandra do, they find a second set of bones, meaning there's another Khandra there. Someone has been killed and replaced. And the only way she can be sure if somebody is not a Khandra is if they use Allomancy, which means she cannot test Elend or Dox. Or a few others. But those are the main ones that she's worried about.
Of the crew, she can't test those two, but there's several other people in their close circle now because of their duties of trying to run the city and deal with the military and all that, such as Captain Demu, who is now the leader of their city guard.
But yeah, so not helping with Vin's general confusion is the fact that the Mistborn Zane is basically obsessed with her. So there's a lot of where does she actually belong conflict going on, which we'll get into more in a separate episode. So yeah, there's a lot of who can you trust, how can you root out the mole, and also lots and lots of politics of dealing with who's a good leader, who's a bad leader, how do you keep the bad leaders away, how do you stay a good leader while people don't trust you, and so on and so forth. What do you do with that? Because Elend is quickly removed from power because people don't trust its ability to deal with the armies. There are people who just straight up want to hand the city over to his father, Straff, who is the worst.
And may we reiterate, he is the worst. Absolute worst.
He Britas it.
He really does. But as we mentioned, he is also Zane's father. We apparently find out that Straff has
Hobbies.
been deliberately messing around with Ska women.
Yeah, he wants a misting army.
Yeah, for the purposes of breeding himself a personal army. And then, of course, because of the rules of the society of the Lord Ruler and the nobility and all that fun stuff, he promptly then has them executed once he's gotten what he wants from them.
Mostly.
Great guy. Yep, there's a few exceptions.
Yeah, he's kept one around because she's a brilliant apothecary. Anyway,
And we learn this because Zane keeps trying to poison him and find ways to kill him off otherwise, and this apothecary is one of the only reasons that he stays alive. Or at least, that's how it seems at first.
yeah, it turns out she's been actually poisoning him and letting him... And Zane's been like, yeah, I'll let him think it happened. I'll let him think I did it. So, you know, nice family dynamic there, but whatever.
On the other hand, from everything we've heard from Straff, it's about to be expected.
Basically, yeah.
Keyhole.
But yeah, short version, it turns out that Orsur was the one who was killed and replaced by another Khandra, the one person they never thought to check. And Vin was never going to catch on to that because she, for the longest time, had a hard time seeing Orsur, or who she thought was Orsur, as a person. Because, little bit traumatic when you're not familiar with Khandra to know that basically your father figure has died and suddenly someone wearing their skin has shown up a little bit later. So yeah, she's not fully over that. Trauma is a heck of a drug.
Yep. The upside is, when this eventually does come to a head, the Kendra actually chooses her over its actual master, Zane, and we learn its name is Tensoon.
Yep.
And after saving Vin's life at the expense of breaking his contract with Zane,
he leaves to go turn himself in.
Yep, he departs to return to the Kandra homeland and face their version of justice.
Yep. So yeah, Ellen has become a better leader by this point. Little too late. He's still trying to help Luthadel, but basically everyone in the city has kind of realized that they're screwed. So Sazed, becoming more and more convinced that Vin is the prophesied hero that they've been waiting for, does not want her in the city when Luthadel falls because he feels she needs to stay alive. So they've gotten Seth's army taken care of. Ventures has been leaving, but the Colossus army is no longer under control and is marching straight for them. This is probably the worst outcome, so they don't tell Vin or Ellen that this is the case, as Vin is encouraged to go look for the Well of Ascension that she has been occasionally mentioning. Sorry, this is a very disjointed summary. They do figure out partway through their journey that they've been had. Vin absolutely exhausts herself running back in time. Not in time to save Docs or Clubs, though. Yep. They are killed in fighting. You don't have enough pots.
I don't. I need to reset the room.
But, yeah. Thanks to Tensoon, she has figured out how to use Allomancy on the Colossus, uses them to go mow down Venture's army. You know, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Save the city, and then goes to collapse and sleep.
And she's out for several days as a result.
Yep. But she does, at this point, now know where the Well of Ascension is. It's in Luthadel, after all this time. Yeah, we know your text said it was probably in the Terrace Mountains, but the Lord Ruler changed how the world worked. So why couldn't he move that? And she is right. They find it. But there's this mist spirit that they've been seeing for a while. Vin is convinced it's trying to kill Ellen. And when she goes to the well, she has been told, all the writings she has seen tell her that the hero will give up the power. The Lord Ruler kept it, and look what happened. This Mist Spirit fatally wounds Elend to try and stop her. Because she's a good person and knows that Elend is also a good person, she doesn't take the power to heal him. And then they have a horrible realization that whatever they just released from this well is very, very happy to be free, and they're in a lot of trouble. You still don't have enough. Do you just have to stand on one of them?
I think I do, yeah, because there's no way to move all the pots without destroying at least 2 of them. Yeah, this is actually hinted at very early in the story, as Sazed finds an iron plate on a wall in an Inquisitor stronghold that begins with the line, "Nothing not set in metal can be trusted."
This includes the writings that Keepers have memorized.
So, something has been altering all his notes, everyone's records of the past, and several other details to change what the legends say the so-called Hero of Ages is supposed to be doing.
Yep.
This force is also, it talks to Zane. He refers to it as God. And it tells him to kill people all the time.
Yep. But
Except
the Mist
for
Spirit...
Vin.
Yeah, the Mist Spirit...
When Vin is dying, this God voice tells Zane, "Of course I wouldn't have you kill her. She's too important."
Yeah. So after Vin has, not been tricked into, not following the prophecy, the way... Because apparently this Mist Spirit knows more than they do, he shows her how to save Elend's life with a speed of metal, with like a piece of metal she's never seen before. And when Elend swallows it and she washes it down so he can't swallow it with a vial of metals, he's burning pewter. It's turned him into a Mistborn.
Yay! Elend has magic.
Yeah, but the world's also screwed now.
Yep.
Because apparently we have released the bad god.
Yep.
Which is an oversimplification of how this actually works, but for our purposes.
The story ends with the mist killing people has gotten worse. There is a mysterious dark force that is running around that is clearly related to the thing that Vin accidentally released. And, Vin does kill Straff Venture after she stops the Koloss invasion by mimicking a trick she learned on the Kandra, and basically super pushing her soothing abilities with the new metal.
You're mixing that up. She does that when she goes with Elend to intimidate him. She kills him by just basically flattening him with a giant sword she's pounding over.
You jumped ahead of me. I was explaining how she got control of the Koloss in the first place. She uses the new metal she's got called Duralumin, which is an aluminum alloy. If she combines that with another metal, it supercharges it. She learns from testing on the Kandra Tensoon that if she pushes hard enough, she can take direct control of him. And she discovers during the fighting that she can control Koloss the same way. So she uses that to get control of the Koloss and stop them from, killing everyone in town. And then, with them at her command, she heads out to confront Straff, has one of the Koloss throw her, then turns that into an enhanced super jump, and yeah, falls through the air and chops Straff and his horse in half with a Koloss sword. Wow, this is annoying. I hate these puzzles. They're in Mega Man games too. I hate them.
So, yeah, we've glossed over a lot, but that's okay. We usually come back to this stuff later. But general gist. Running an empire is hard. Picking up the pieces after a revolution is harder. War sucks. And the world is on fire.
Yay! Also, Marsh betrayed the team. He shows up when Sazed comes to stop Vin from messing with the Well of Ascension, and almost kills him. Only stopped by Sazed making judicious use of his various metal mines, and Ham coming and rescuing him at an opportune moment. But yeah, I think that wraps up all the little stray bits of the story.
Yep. So until next time, or do we want to do the block puzzle first?
Let me get out of this. Yay!
Alright, until next. Bye!
See you next time.